Hey ladies, I wanted to take you along on my content planning for 2026. I love to plan. I'm very good at it. It's one of the skills that has always helped me in my professional and in my personal life. I do a lot of planning at the beginning of each year or the end of each year, trying to figure out the best way for me to really serve the ladies of the Loved and Blessed Ladies community. A lot goes into actually figuring out what videos I'm going to share, what posts I want to share, our daily prayer content, any types of events or fun things that we do in the community. And there's a lot of planning, obviously, that goes into running an e-commerce shop. So normally, I do this all behind the scenes, but I thought since we have a section for entrepreneurship and small business inside of the Loved and Blessed Ladies community, I thought that would be a fun place for me to actually take you guys along on that ride in case any of you are interested in sharing content, whether you do stuff on social media or whether you have your own business, your own online shop, or you sell things on Etsy. A lot of the things that I do in my strategic planning for content, which also relates to marketing and ultimately to sales and revenue, and meeting my goals of growth inside of the Loved and Blessed Ladies community, all of that is probably applicable in some way to something that you're working on. So I just thought I would share. Hopefully I'll share kind of along the way as I'm putting my 2026 plan together. And you guys, I'd love to get in a conversation with you about how you share your content, how you plan it out. For me, a lot of the content kind of falls into two categories. There's the content that is within our community, which is meant for encouragement. And then there is the content that is outside of the community, which is more kind of marketing to let other ladies know that Loved and Blessed exists. So today, I want to just give you kind of a quick overview of what I'm doing, and then in some videos to come, I will share more detail as I get into doing some of the actual planning in this journal. So this is the new journal that I just got. Isn't it beautiful? I hope you can see the gold on there. It's so pretty. If you have watched my Archer and Olive journal video, and I'm sorry if you can hear noise outside. I hear a motorcycle. I don't know if y'all can hear that. We are having a heat wave right now in Los Angeles, so I have my windows open. So apologize in advance for any noise. But if you watched my Archer and Olive unboxing of their fall findings journals, this will be familiar to you. However, in that video, I unboxed the A5 size journal. This is the B6 size journal, which is bigger. I'll grab the A5 so you can see the difference. So here is the A5 journal, and then you can see how much bigger the B6 is. The reason I'm pointing that out is because for content planning, marketing planning, anything like that, I find that I need a lot of room. So I know there are people who use smaller journals like this A5 size to do their planning, but that's just too small for me, and I write big and I have a lot of things to say and ideas that I like to work out in here. So I did purchase the larger size. It is still a dot grid journal. It is still the beautiful, nice, thick paper. I believe it's 120 GSM paper with the rounded corners, and it still has the beautiful little ampersand logo. You can see it on this one, on the little bookmarks. I love that there are two bookmarks because in something like this, when you're planning, it's of course important to know where you're at in your plans. And so I can use the bookmarks to mark off the pages that I'm currently on. So what I've done is I just took some time today in thinking through what I want to be working on for 2026 and then also tracking. So I'm just going to show you what I've done in here. Basically, I've gone through and put some thought into what I want each of the page layouts to be. So when I open the journal, I'm going to use, this is kind of a, this book belongs to page. I'm going to use one of our pop-up cards that we used to do. I still love these. Our scripture cards fit inside of here. So if you do still have one of our pop-up cards, the scripture cards slide right into this space. Here, I've got a scripture card here on my desk. So you can see that this slides right into here. I love these. I don't know, maybe I'll bring them back. They're so cute. So I want the first page, I know who this belongs to, obviously. So I want the first page to be encouragement for myself, because I always find that I am very good at planning, but at some point throughout the year, something will discourage me. And so I'm going to use this space to write some encouragement to myself. I might even switch out the scripture cards each month for whatever encouragement I feel like I need. So this is just my opening page. Then I'm going to leave this page blank, mainly because it just works better for the spine of the journal, because I like to put a lot of stickers and other kind of ephemera inside of the journals. I like to leave this page blank just because I feel like the spine is better when I do that. So I will probably write on this page, I think I've shared this before, but one of the ways that I stay encouraged is I actually print out encouragement from product reviews that you all have written, emails that y'all have sent me, messages inside of the community that were specific encouragement to me. I actually print all those out and I keep them in these jars, and I've got multiples of these jars in my office. So I might take some of those and do a collage here just as more encouragement for myself that I can always flip back to at the front of the journal as the year goes on, just to remind myself of why I do what I do. Then this spread, I am going to put my mission, vision, and core values. I have that written out. I usually update it every few years. Obviously, this isn't something that changes every year, but it's always good to kind of start there because it's a good reminder. And then image-wise, I'm going to do a collage of a bunch of the images that I have that are the images that I like to look at as a reminder of what I want the loved and blessed look to be, if that makes sense. Our brand colors, but then I'm gonna use a lot of these images. Some of these are from old events. So this is if you came to one of our in-person events in California, this is also one from an in-person event. And then this is a picture of an item I have in my office. And then this is me. Then these are just different images that remind me of what I want the look and feel of the Loved and Blessed brand to be. So I'm going to use those images, and I'll probably make little pockets so that I can write my mission statement on one of our little gift cards and then put it inside of the pocket. So I think that's how I'm going to lay this page out. You'll see in the future what I end up doing. Then this spread is going to be all branding. So colors, my main logo. These are some logo variants that I use sometimes when the logo doesn't fit, or things that we use on social media. I'll have my color palette there and all the references that I need for that. So that's what's going to go on this page. This page is going to be a layout of my hero customer, hero loved and blessed lady. All of us are so different and unique, and yet there are some things that we have in common that actually bring us together inside of this community. And there are things that for a lot of the customers that I shop that are similar reasons why they keep coming back and purchasing. And so basically, if you're used to doing marketing and strategic plans, this is like your target demographic or your target customer. But basically this is kind of my Who is the Loved and Blessed Ladies page. And so that's what I'm going to do here. Here, I'm going to do a layout of the different revenue streams that I have. At the end of the day, I need to be able to make enough money. My goal is always to make enough money to cover the expenses of running the community for free and maintaining the website, the lovedandblessed.com website and all of that. And sorry, when I said running the community for free, I mean running the community in such a way that it can be free to join. So that means that I have to have some revenue streams in order to make that money, or else I'm just spending money, and this would be an extremely expensive hobby because the software that we use and all that stuff is not cheap. So this is where I'm going to kind of do a layout of my different streams of revenue, whether it's a product or a service for 2026. And so it's really the ones that I want to focus on. That also doesn't change too much, but as an example, in 2019, one of the main streams of revenue I was really focused on was in-person events. And then obviously the pandemic happened And so that changed in 2020. We've shifted and did an online event. For 2026, I want to think through what my focused revenue streams will be. This page is then going to be my goals for 2026. So my specific goals around loved and blessed. And I'm leaving myself an extra page because I haven't decided yet if I want to write directly on here for 2026, which would mean that this notebook would only be for 2026. Sometimes they kind of carry over and I use them for a couple years. Or I could make pockets, and then similar to how I'm going to make pockets for these, I could have a pocket and then I could put 2026 in, 2027 for however long I, can use all the pages up in this notebook. I haven't decided what I want to do there yet. So I'm going to do, this is kind of earmarked as a goals page. And then these pages I'm just leaving blank. And I think I left about 10 spreads blank so that I can have some breathing room if I want to either write more about any specific goals, if my goals change during the year, or if I want to have a 2027, 2028 goals in here as well. And it's never bad to have blank pages, I find, because I can always find something to fill it up later. So that also leaves space for if there is anything big picture that I want to add to this journal later, I can add it in that section. Then this is where I want to start my content plan for 2026. And then I'm going to have content plan by channel. And what that basically means, let me see if I'll show you content plan by channel. So basically for each channel, these would be what I call my channels. So I've got YouTube, Instagram, the Loved and Blessed store or the shop online, our Loved and Blessed Ladies community, and sneak peek, Joy Defenders is coming back. Joy Defenders, which is inside of the Loved and Blessed Ladies community. It's a special little section. You'll learn more about that later. But usually these are the different content channels that I focus on. I have found that it's best for me to really narrow down the channels. I can't handle personally by myself as a solo entrepreneur person. I cannot handle having more than 2 kind of marketing social media channels, which would be YouTube and Instagram. And YouTube is content. It also can be marketing, because obviously if a new lady finds a YouTube video and they watch it and then they're interested in joining the community or shopping. And then Instagram is content for encouragement for just the general public, but then also hopefully a marketing channel for me to be able to let people know that Loved and Blessed exists. So this is going to be a layout of the content by channel. Basically, it's just the categories of content. So for example, in the Loved and Blessed Ladies community, y'all know we have the daily prayer prompts, the Fellowship Fridays or Mingle Mondays, raffles, things like that. So that would be what I'm listing here as the different types of content that I do in each of these places. All right. Then I'm going to have a theme overview. This is basically content by month. I want to get back to being more strategic and more thoughtful in advance about planning out our themed content inside of Loved and Blessed Ladies by the month. That was the way that I always did it when we were doing the Boxes of Encouragement subscription box membership. And since ending the membership for the boxes, I have just kind of allowed my spirit to lead depending on a topic that was on my heart for that particular month. But in 2026, I want to put together a better plan for the content for each month so that I can share with y'all in advance and you can know and look forward to what we're going to be talking about. This is going to be the theme overview and notes. And then basically I'm going to do my notes by quarters so that I can break down like January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December. And then here, this is going to be by month by channel. So basically, if I go back to looking at this layout, based on those themes, what is the thing or the things that I'm going to be sharing for the month of January on each of these channels. And then this is going to be a blank page for notes. So this is January content, blank page for notes. And then this is January month in review, so that I can see how did it go, was it well received? Did I get engagement? Was there any feedback that I need to take into consideration for the content going forward? And these next pages, as you can see from the post-its that I've put here, I've just earmarked for each month. There's basically 3 spreads for each month. So it's April content, April blank for just notes and things, and then April results. I won't bore you and flip through all of that. I'll just keep going until we get to the end. Okay, so it's October. And then we've got December content, December blank, December results. So now you can see, if I lift up the journal, you can see that that's a pretty big chunk of the journal. There's probably, I don't know, a quarter of it left on this side. So here's what I've got left to use this journal for 2026. So basically, I am going to keep a running list because y'all know I'm a post-it queen. I got post-its everywhere. If you ever see me pan around my office with the camera, you'll see about 1,000 of these Post-its. I'm probably the biggest customer for Loved and Blessed of these Post-its, all over the place. And every time I think of a topic, think of something I want to do in the community, I tend to write it down on a Post-it, and then I have Post-its everywhere. What I want to do is keep a track of these ideas, this running idea list, starting from the back, so the last spread in the book. I'm going to make a checklist like this where I can list out the idea when it comes to my brain, and then I can list what channel I'm going to use it for, so YouTube or the inside the community, and then just have a checkbox for if I used it or not. And so the reason I'm flipping all the way to the back is because I want to have the ideas in the back, and then once this page is full, I'll flip and I'll do another spread that looks exactly the same for the ideas and content here, so that I'm moving from the back forward, and then that leaves anything from December up to wherever I get with the ideas to still be blank for me to put in more stuff, right? Because I might want to put a earmark in here for maybe a 2027 looking ahead list also, because a lot of times throughout the year I have ideas, but those ideas I know I'm not going to be able to work on for during that year. So like right now I have a running list of 2026 ideas that will now go into here. I've been kind of listing throughout 2025 of things that I'm like, I know I can't get to this in 2025, but I don't want to forget it. So that is just an overview really quick of how I'm going to be using this content on the planning journal for Loved and Blessed. I love this journal. I'm not an affiliate or anything. I just love this. So if you want to check out Archer and Olive, I think they still have some of these in stock. Some of the sizes sold out, but it's the Chrysanthemum journal from their Fall Findings collection. It comes in multiple sizes, but check that out. And I hope you will follow along on this journey with me as I work on my 2026 content plan. And I'm excited to share it with you guys in here because I'd love to get your feedback on not only just how you're planning or advice on planning, but also just on some of the content as I'm coming up with ideas and sharing some of those ideas. Some of them will be a surprise, but some of them I'll share with you in advance. And I'd love to hear your thoughts if you're excited, if you have any suggestions yourself for things that you'd like to see us do inside of the community in 2026. So thank you for hanging out with me, and I will chat with you again soon.